I figure we can watch this together, guys. All right, we're waiting. I'll be right back. All right. Oops, I want to do that. What am I doing? Nice. See if I can find one that they're actually talking on, or like the news people are talking on. Oh, wait, I swear to God. I swear to God. Oh. The AP News. Nope, AP, literally same thing. It's supposed to rain tonight. We're just waiting for it to start. Trying to see if we can find one that like the news people are actually talking. They come in yet?
Mr. Speaker, Their Majesties King Charles III and Queen Camilla.
Okay, this one's behind a little bit. I literally just watched them already walk in. Why is there no volume? What the hell is going on with the volume? Let me see here. If this doesn't bring back the volume, then we'll switch over to something else. Let me see this one. Even USA Today doesn't have volume. Okay, we'll watch this. Okay.
Scribe is how you stop explaining the same thing
Damn it.
over and over at work.
Sorry.
Watch this. It'll change your life.
Congress, I have the high privilege and distinct honor of presenting to you His Majesty Charles III.
Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, members of Congress, representatives of the American people across all states, territories, cities, and communities. I would like, if I may, to take this opportunity to express my particular gratitude to you all for the great honor of addressing this joint meeting of Congress, and on behalf of the Queen and myself, to thank the American people for welcoming us to the United States to mark this semi-quincentennial year of the Declaration of Independence.
I wonder if I can get that ring off his pinky.
And for all of that time,
Ooh, his hands are dry. Ooh.
aren't you lucky? And for all of that time, our destinies as nations have been interlinked. As Oscar Wilde said, we have really everything in common with America nowadays, except, of course, language.
Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we meet in times of great uncertainty, in times of conflict from Europe to the Middle East, which pose immense challenges for the international community and whose impact is felt in communities the length and breadth of our own countries. We meet, too, in the aftermath of the incident not far from this great building that sought to harm the leadership of your nation and to foment wider fear and discord. Let me say with unshakable resolve, such acts of violence will never succeed. Whatever our differences, whatever disagreements we may have, we stand united in our commitment to uphold democracy, to protect all our people from harm, and to salute the courage of those who daily risk their lives in the service of our countries. Standing here today, it is hard not to feel the weight of history on my shoulder, because the modern relationship between our two nations and our own peoples spans not merely 250 years, but over 4 centuries. It is extraordinary to think that I am the 19th in our line of sovereigns to study with daily attention the affairs of America. So I come here today with the highest respect for the United States Congress, this citadel of democracy created to represent the voice of all American people to advance sacred rights and freedoms. Speaking in this renowned chamber of debate and deliberation, I cannot help but think of my late mother, Queen Elizabeth, who in 1991 was also afforded this signal honor and similarly spoke under the watchful eye of the Statue of Freedom above us. Today, I am here on this great occasion in the life of our nations to express the highest regard and friendship of the British people to the people of the United States. Now, as you may know, when I address my own Parliament at Westminster, we still follow an age-old tradition and take a Member of Parliament hostage, holding him or her at Buckingham Palace until I am safely returned. These days, we look after our guests rather well, to the point that they often do not want to leave. I don't know, Mr. Speaker, if there were any volunteers for that role here today. As I look back across the centuries, Mr. Speaker, there emerge certain patterns, certain self-evident truths from which we can learn and draw mutual strength. With the spirit of 1776 in our minds, we can perhaps agree that we do not always agree, at least in the first instance. Indeed, the very principle on which your Congress was founded, no taxation without representation, was at once a fundamental disagreement between us, and at the same time a shared democratic value which you inherited from us. Ours is a partnership born out of dispute, but no less strong for it. So perhaps in this example, we can discern that our nations are in fact instinctively like-minded, a product of the common democratic, legal, and social traditions in which our governance is rooted to this day. Drawing on these values and traditions, time and again, our two countries have always found ways to come together.
I hope you guys didn't hear that.
And by Jove, Mr. Speaker, when we have found that way to agree, what great change is brought about, not just for the benefit of our peoples, but of all peoples. This, I believe, is the special ingredient in our relationship. As President Trump himself observed during his state visit to Britain last autumn, the bond of kinship and identity between America and the United Kingdom is priceless and eternal. It is irreplaceable and unbreakable.
Well, these guys don't look happy to be here.
Mr. Speaker, this is by no means my first visit to Washington, D.C., the capital of this great republic. It is, in fact, my 20th visit to the United States and my first as King and head of the Commonwealth. This is a city which symbolizes a period in our shared history, or what Charles Dickens might have called a tale of two Georges.
Yeah, I don't get it.
The first president, George Washington, and my 5 times great-grandfather, King George III.
Oh.
King George, as you know, never set foot in America. And please rest assured, ladies and gentlemen, I am not here as part of some cunning rearguard action. The founding fathers were bold and imaginative rebels with a cause. 200 250 years ago, or as we say in the United Kingdom, just the other day,
At least he's got Joe.
they declared independence by balancing contending forces and drawing strength into diversity. They united 13 disparate colonies to forge a nation on the revolutionary idea of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They carried with them and carried forward the great inheritance of the British Enlightenment, as well as the ideals which had an even deeper history in English common law and Magna Carta. These roots run deep, and they are still vital. Our Declaration of Rights of 1689 was not only the foundation of our constitutional monarchy, but also provided the source of so many of the principles reiterated, often verbatim, in the American Bill of Rights of 1791. And those roots go even further back in history. The US Supreme Court Historical Society has calculated that Magna Carta is cited in at least 160 Supreme Court cases since 1789, not least as the foundation of the principle that executive power is subject to checks and balances. This is the reason why there stands a stone by the River Thames at Runnymede, where Magna Carta was signed in the year 1215. This stone records that an acre of that ancient and historic site was given to the United States of America by the people of the United Kingdom to symbolize our shared resolve in support of liberty and in memory of President John F. Kennedy. Distinguished members of the 119th Congress, it is here in these very halls that this spirit of liberty and the promise of America's founders is present in every session and every vote cast, not by the will of one, but by the deliberation of many, representing the living mosaic of the United States. In both of our countries, it is the very fact of our vibrant, diverse, and free societies that gives us our collective strength, including to support victims of some of the ills that so tragically exist in both our societies today. And, Mr. Speaker, for many here, and for myself, the Christian faith is a firm anchor and daily inspiration that guides us, not only personally,
This is really good. I'm like, watch the show about them.
that guides us not only personally, but together as members of our community. Having devoted a large part of my life to interfaith relationships and greater understanding, it is that faith in the triumph of light over darkness which I have found confirmed countless times. Through it, I am inspired by the profound respect that develops as people of different faiths grow in their understanding of each other. It is why, it is my hope, my prayer, that in these turbulent times, working together and with our international partners, we can stem the beating of plowshares into swords.
Oh my God, let the man get on with his king, people.
I am mindful that we are still in the season of Easter, the season that most strengthens my hope. It is why I believe with all my heart that the essence of our two nations is a generosity of spirit and a duty to foster compassion, to promote peace, to deepen mutual understanding, and to value all people of all faiths and of none. The alliance that our two nations have built over the centuries, and for which we are profoundly grateful to the American people, is truly unique. And that alliance is part of what Henry Kissinger described as Kennedy's soaring vision of an Atlantic partnership based on twin pillars, Europe and America. That partnership, I believe, Mr. Speaker, is more important today than it has ever been. The first reigning British sovereign to set foot in America was my grandfather, King George VI. He visited in 1939 with my beloved grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. The forces of fascism in Europe were on the march, and sometime before the United States had joined us in the defense of freedom, our shared values prevailed. Today, we find ourselves in a new era, but those values remain. It is an era that is in many ways more volatile and more dangerous than the world to which my late mother spoke in this chamber in 1991. The challenges we face are too great for any one nation to bear alone. But in this unpredictable environment, our alliance cannot rest on past achievements or assume that foundational principles simply endure. As my Prime Minister said last month, ours is an indispensable partnership. We must not disregard everything that has sustained us for the last 80 years. Instead, we must build on it. Renewal today starts with security. The United Kingdom recognizes that the threats we face demand a transformation. That is why our country, in order to be fit for the future, has committed to the biggest.
Have you heard about pop-on siding? We need 50 homeowners in your area to trial this radically
in the Royal Navy, following in the naval footsteps of my father, Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, my grandfather, King George VI, my great-uncle, Lord Mountbatten, and my great-grandfather, King George V. This year, of course, also marks the 25th anniversary of 9/11. This atrocity was a defining moment for America, and your pain and shock were felt around the whole world. During my visit to New York, my wife and I will again pay our respects to the victims, the families, and the bravery shown in the face of terrible loss. We stood with you then, and we stand with you now in solemn remembrance of a day that shall never be forgotten. immediate aftermath of 9/11, when NATO invoked Article 5 for the first time, and the United Nations Security Council was united in the face of terror, we answered the call together, as our people have done so for more than a century, shoulder to shoulder through 2 world wars, the Cold War, Afghanistan, and moments that have defined our shared security. Today, Mr. Speaker, that same unyielding resolve is needed for the defense of Ukraine and her most courageous people.
Oh my God, sit down, Pelosi.
It is needed in order to secure a truly just and lasting peace. From the depths of the Atlantic to the disastrously melting ice caps of the Arctic, the commitment and expertise of the United States Armed Forces and its allies lie at the heart of NATO, pledged to each other's defense, protecting our citizens and interests, keeping North Americans and Europeans safe from our common adversaries. Our defense, intelligence, and security ties are hardwired together through relationships measured not in years, but in decades. Today, thousands of US service personnel, defense officials and their families are stationed in the United Kingdom, as British personnel serve with equal pride across 30 American states. We are building F-35s together, and we have agreed the most ambitious submarine program in history, AUKUS. And we are doing it in partnership with Australia, a country of which I'm also immensely proud to serve as sovereign. We do not embark on these remarkable endeavors together out of sentiment. We do so because they build greater shared resilience for the future, so making our citizens safer for generations to come. Our common ideals were not only crucial for liberty and equality, they are also the foundation of our shared prosperity. The rule of law, the certainty of stable and accessible rules, an independent judiciary resolving disputes and delivering impartial justice. These features created the conditions for centuries of unmatched economic growth in our 2 countries. This is why our governments are concluding new economic and technology agreements to write the next chapter of our joint prosperity and ensure that British and American ingenuity continues to lead the world. Our nations are combining talent and resources in the technologies of tomorrow. Our new partnerships in nuclear fusion and quantum computing and in AI and drug discovery, holding the promise of saving countless lives. More broadly, we celebrate the $430 billion in annual trade that continues to grow, the $1.7 trillion in mutual investment that fuels that innovation, and the millions of jobs on both sides of the Atlantic, supported across both economies. These are strong foundations on which to continue to build for generations yet unborn. Our ties in education, research, and cultural exchange empower citizens and future leaders of both countries. The Marshall Scholarship, named after the great General George Marshall, and the association of which I am so proud to be patron, are emblematic of the connection between our two countries. Since its founding, more than 2,300 scholarships have been awarded, opening doors for Americans from all walks of life to study at the United Kingdom's leading universities. So as we look toward the next 250 years, we must also reflect on our shared responsibility to safeguard nature, our most precious and irreplaceable asset. Millennia before our nations existed, before any border drawn, the mountains of Scotland and Appalachia were one, a single continuous range forged in the ancient collision of continents. The natural wonders of the United States of America are indeed a unique asset, and generations of Americans have risen to this calling. Indigenous, political and civic leaders, people in rural communities and cities alike, have all helped to protect and nurture what President Theodore Roosevelt called the glorious heritage of this land's extraordinary natural splendor, on which so much of its prosperity has always depended. Yet, even as we celebrate the beauty that surrounds us, our generation must decide how to address the collapse of critical natural systems, which threatens far more than the harmony and essential diversity of nature. We ignore at our peril the fact that these natural systems, in other words, nature's own economy, provide the foundation for our prosperity and our national security. The story of the United Kingdom and the United States is at its heart a story of reconciliation, renewal, and remarkable partnership. From the bitter divisions of 250 years ago, we forged a friendship that has grown into one of the most consequential alliances in human history. I pray with all my heart that our alliance will continue to defend our shared values with our partners in Europe and the Commonwealth and across the world. And that we ignore the clarion calls to become ever more inward-looking. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Vice President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, America's words carry weight and meaning, as they have since independence. The actions of this great nation matter even more. President Lincoln understood this so well with his reflection in the magisterial Gettysburg Address, that the world may little note what we say, but will never forget what we do. And so to the United States of America, on your 250th birthday, let our two countries rededicate ourselves to each other in the selfless service of our peoples and of all the peoples of the world. God bless the United States, and God bless the United Kingdom.
Okay, the sound thing's on their end. I don't know what's going on. dog wandering around the house. I'm coming home soon. My kids doing Camilla. Ooh.
Been completed. The chair declares the joint meeting of the two houses now dissolved. The House will continue in recess, subject to the call of the chair.
Let's see if they're talking about it. It's not live. Oh, hold on. All right, hold on. Let me find it real quick. Is that one? Oh.
The king did give President Trump in 1879 framed plans for the Resolute desk. And so it is customary for some of these high-profile officials to exchange gifts. The king gave President Trump a facsimile of the 1879 design plans for the Resolute desk, the originals of which are held in the National Maritime Museum in Greenwich, London. Those drawings are showing the front elevation, top, and projection of the president's desk, currently located in the Oval Office there at the White House. It is important to note that the Resolute desk was created operated from the timbers of the British exploration ship HMS Resolute. The U.S. government recovered and refitted the HMS Resolute before sending it back to England, where it was presented to Queen Victoria back on December 17th of 1856. This was seen as a gesture of goodwill and friendship between the United States and the United Kingdom.
They
And
bugged
so
it.
we
No,
did
I'm
want to
just
make sure we were able to bring that to you here on Live Now from Fox. All of the pomp and circumstance that happened there in Washington, D.C. as King Charles came to deliver this joint address to Congress. And so in case you missed any of that speech, I do want to hit on some of the highlights. We do know that King Charles did begin that speech talking about an Oscar Wilde quote. He said, "We really have everything in common with America nowadays, except, of course, language." Many of the audience laughed in response to that, but he did also meet and began to have some of that speech to touch on important topics as well as global security. He said this: "We meet in times of great uncertainty, in times of conflict, from Europe to the Middle East." He also acknowledged the shooting that happened at the White House Correspondents' Dinner that took place, of course, on Saturday, saying this: "Let me say with unshakable resolve, such acts of violence will never succeed." He said, "Whatever our differences, whatever our disagreements we may have, we stand united in our commitment to uphold democracy, to protect our people from harm, and to salute the courage of those who daily risk their lives in service of our countries." And so we have this from Capitol Hill reporter Cami Mondo with the Deseret saying there, King Charles concluded his speech with this message: "America's words carry weight and meaning. So to the United States of America, on your 250th birthday, let our two countries rededicate ourselves to each other in the selfless service of our peoples and of all the peoples of the world. God bless the United States and God bless the United Kingdom." We do also have this shot as it is driving away of the motorcade leaving the Capitol. I want to put this up on the screen since we have the availability. It did say that next King Charles is going to be attending the White House State Dinner. That's going to be happening a bit later this evening. But again, the motorcade outside of the Capitol building now leaving after King Charles held that joint address to Congress. I do also want to put this up on the screen, just another wrap of what we heard and saw there from that speech, saying King Charles III reminisces on the alliance between U.S. and U.K. in different world wars, saying, quote, "We answered the call together," says that we should extend to Ukraine. Today, Mr. Speaker, that same unyielding resolve is needed for the defense of Ukraine and her most courageous people. So a lot of conversation is going to end up coming out as several folks are going to begin dissecting that speech from King Charles III. Once again, a very momentous occasion, as it is the first time that a sitting royal did address Congress since 1991. The person before, of course, King Charles's mother, Queen Elizabeth II. I do want to top this back up on your screen as we're watching as that motorcade just drove by. It does appear to be some folks standing outside, possibly even protesting, with signs there saying, telling him to go home, King Charles. So we'll continue to watch to see how all of this unfolds, if there are any larger demonstrations. Of course,
America First conservative Patty Rocky knows what hard work looks like. From working in a factory to building her own business, Patty Rocky earned everything. Now she's ready to cut taxes and regulations so families and small businesses can thrive.
Stories when we return. Stay with us.
The girls know me in there. I've been going there for years. Well, I was talking to the woman that, the nurse that I was supposed to see because she was like up in the front office.
Thanks for being with us here on Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Christina Evans. We brought this to you as breaking news about an hour or so ago now, but I do want to take you out to this. It's a live vantage point that we have expecting a press conference to come in from the Department of Justice. While we're working behind the scenes to get a better understanding exactly what this particular press conference is going to be about, it could be connected to this news that we brought to you as breaking. We do know that James Comey has been indicted once again.
We'll hang out here for a while.
Over his controversial 2025
I was like, I was like, I'm early. I was like, getting in earlier, and she just left. I was like, what? And she's like, oh, honey, this is down. I'm like,
your screen as well, so you're able to see exactly what we're talking about here. It was.
And then this guy comes out.
It was this Instagram post that is at the center
and I'm
of this
sitting her at the window.
But we do know that a federal grand jury in North Carolina has decided decided to
He's
indict former
standing
FBI
behind me.
Director
Okay,
James
so it's
Comey
kind of
over
a
this
small little
controversial
off area.
Instagram
So
post
I'm
from
at the
last
window.
year
This guy
that
is like
President
behind me,
Trump
but
and
to my
members of
right.
his
And then
administration
behind
claimed
me is
was
a
a
guy in a
threat
wheelchair
against the
that has
president.
kid with
This is renewing efforts to
he
prosecute one of
mentally
President
there's something
Trump's
wrong with him,
longtime
and yeah,
adversaries.
I could tell
The
it was this
Department of
guy's first
Justice
time there 'cause he was
prosecutors
filling out
brought
paperwork.
this
She
case
was asking him
after a
questions
judge
about
last year threw out
and
an indictment against Comey
I'll
on
get to the guy
unrelated
back to the right.
charges.
But the
But
guy in
what
the
you're
wheelchair.
looking at on the screen is the center
She's
of
like,
this new indictment. This is on a
and she's like,
controversy
she's
that
like, next
erupted
question
nearly a
is,
year ago
are
when
you
Comey,
angry?
in a
And she goes, yeah,
since deleted
you're angry
Instagram post,
sometimes. She
shared
goes,
a
no,
picture
I'm not. And he
showing
like
the
screams
numbers
it at her. I was like,
8647
oh,
written in
this is gonna be an
seashells on the
interesting
beach with the
day.
caption "Cool Shell Formation
Oh
on
my
a beach
God. And then
watch."
she was just
And
asking him
so, of course,
questions
what the
and stuff.
Trump
And she already knew a
administration
lot
is
of
now citing is the slang term of
So,
8-6,
but while
which
that's
means
happening
to
to my
mix
back
or
left,
get
my
rid of
back right,
something.
I can hear this
They're
guy
alleging that
talking.
this post was a
Who the
veiled
fuck
threat
is this
against
guy talking
President
to?
Trump,
He's
and that the
so-
Department of Homeland Security and the Secret Service have now
And
quickly launched those
where
investigations
I'm at, it's been
into
literally
these
raining
posts.
every
And so I'm going to
yesterday
put
it
this
didn't
up on
rain
your
at all.
screen.
Thank
We have
God
some
it rained
video
overnight. So
there
I'm like
of
super
former
tired now.
FBI
I'm drinking
Director
drinking
James
nothing
Comey.
to
Again,
pop
this is
or
not the
fucking
first time
pop
that he
whatever
has been
whatever you want in the world.
indicted on charges by the
Getting
Department
it
of
going.
Justice. But we do know that
Standing there,
prosecutors
and I
will
hear him say
likely
something
face
about
a
being
high
tired.
legal bar to prove
And then I
that
yawn.
this
He goes, oh,
Instagram
yep,
post
she's tired.
constituted a
I was
true
like, oh,
threat, which the
fuck, this
Supreme
guy's been
Court
trying
in
to talk to
2023
me.
found required,
Don't want
showing
to
an
talk to anybody this
individual
morning.
understood their
Oh my
message would
God.
be perceived as
And then I
threatening.
kept
With the
yawning.
phrase
And then the receptionist lady
8647
was yawning
increasingly
too.
adopted by
And
protesters
he's like,
of the
oh,
Trump
he's like, she
administration,
wants to go
the
back to
case,
that.
though,
Like, he's
could
like
carry
fucking
sweeping
narrating. He's
implications
like the little voice in
for
your
the
head that
First
narrates
Amendment.
everything.
And so when
But on the
President
outside
Trump
of your body,
last year
it's
was
so
asked
normal, right?
particularly about this Instagram
So
post, President Trump
I
said
get
the
all checked
call
in,
was
everything
for,
paid
quote,
my
the
balance, whatever.
assassination of the
I
president,
sit down. Now
saying
there's a
he knew
couch,
exactly what that
okay,
meant. A
along
child
the
knows
wall
what
that
that
faces
meant.
the road.
And if
And
you're the
then
FBI
to the left of
director
the
and you
couch,
don't know what
there's
that
a little
meant,
table and chair
that
still
meant
it's still fit.
assassination. And
Keep
it
that in mind.
says it loud and
And then
clear.
there's like
That was in a
a chair that
soundbite
matches
that
the couch, like the
President
colors,
Trump
black leather,
gave to
wrap or
Fox
whatever.
News
Like it matches.
just
It's for an
last
adult,
year,
okay?
talking about that
The
particular
girl
Instagram post.
for the
So I'm going to
helper
put
for
it
the guy
back
in the
up on your
wheelchair
screen so you're
did
able to see it
like a
again.
little
There with that original caption.
like
Again,
a wooden
this
chair
post has
or
since
something. I
been
don't I can't remember
deleted.
what kind of chair
It's
it is.
called
They
a
have it.
cool shell
It's just like
formation. He
like a
said it
kitchen
on
table
his
chair,
beach
like
walk, showing
back from like the early 90s, whatever. Like,
8647.
she was just sitting
And
in
so
it
we'll continue to
because
keep
she
you
was keeping
updated
him close to the window
with
in
the
case
very
like the
latest.
receptionist had
Comey
to
again removed that
whatever I
photo
could do.
from
That's fine.
Instagram
But
saying
this
When
black
you're out
chair
here in
for
the
adults
elements
is
like
right
this,
next
your
to
body's
that.
under
Okay?
serious stress. I take this
So
shot
I sit
because it helps
down
my
on
liver
the couch.
filter out
There's a
daily
coffee table.
stressors so I don't burn out
One
by
coffee
noon.
table. I
So
sit
if
down
you're
on the
feeling
left
sluggish, you could have a
because I didn't want
sluggish
to sit next to
liver.
the door
And that's
because
why I
people come
take
in
Dose for
and
your liver.
when
It's a
people come in,
clinically
they
backed,
smell and it fucking
potent
blows and
daily
I'm
shot
just
made with
over it.
organic herbs
It's a
like
whole
turmeric
story
and
about
milk thistle. And it's shown to support
I
healthy
sit
liver
down on the very left side of
enzymes.
the couch. Is that a no,
I love it because it aids in
no.
digestion so I don't get that heavy
Maybe it is.
bloated feeling while I have lunch on the boat.
Oh, it isn't. It
It's
isn't.
vegan and gluten-free,
Hold
but
on.
honestly, it just tastes like a smooth orange juice.
So the
You know, I
guy
used to ignore it, but I
comes
learned that your
over
liver supports
and
everything
sits
from your
down
energy to your
in the fucking
digestion
little
to your
kid
fat
chair. Like this is
metabolism.
a
It does
grown ass
way more
adult.
than you
He's
think.
got to be probably about like in his mid to upper 40s. And I'm like, oh, he's my friend. I'm not muted on anybody's phone. And this guy, I was like, you seen him when he came out? He stood behind me and kept yep, 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 yep. She's like,
Thanks for being
yeah,
with us here
I
on Live
I
Now from
seen you
Fox. I'm your
redoing
host,
it
Christina
before, and I
Evans.
was like,
Once again, we are waiting
just
for
a
this to
little
get
bit.
underway as
And
we've
she's like,
gotten this
he's
alert
not
here
bothering
from our
me. And she's
team
like
internally,
her
saying
hand
that
on,
this is
the guy
likely
in
going
the
to be
wheelchair. I was like, oh no, 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 no.
connected to the
He is
indictment
completely
of
fine.
James Comey.
He's
The
not bothering me
DOJ will
at
be
all.
speaking
I
out.
was like, I'm
Once
actually
this gets
enjoying this. My
underway, we'll
uncle
bring it to you here on Live
he
Now
needed
from
extra
Fox.
help.
In the
Like,
meantime,
and
though, as we're
she's like,
continuing
oh,
on some
I
of the
mean,
stories
I was like,
following
that guy
there
did know.
from Capitol Hill.
Oh, you
as
gotta
he's
be
hosting
kidding me.
King Charles
Okay, we're
III
back.
as
All right,
well
we're back.
as his wife, Queen
So then
Camilla.
anyways,
We've seen several events for
a
the King and
lady
Queen
comes
in
walking
Washington,
in,
D.C. today. Just
and the
wrapping
couch
up a
needs to be
short time
further away
ago,
from
King
the door.
Charles gave his address on Capitol Hill
Wait,
and a
stop chewing on
joint
my
address
dress.
to Congress as well.
Because
And so
she
in the meantime,
smells
as
like
we're talking about this visit and all of the things
that's
tied to it,
me.
earlier today, we didn't have
Like,
a
she
chance to play it
smelled.
out for you, but
Didn't
Epstein
it?
survivors
I
and
was just like, "Oh
families
my God,
did
like, her
join
skin really dying or
Representative
something."
Ro Khanna at a round table
And this is
talking
not a
about the
place
link
for,
between
like, dead
Jeffrey
skin. It's not a
Epstein
doctor
as
office for
well
that. I
as
don't know what
the
bug.
ousted in the
I
former
go in the back,
prince
do what I
there,
need to do.
in the United Kingdom.
Come back
was
out
ousted,
and
of course,
oh
for his
my
connection
God,
to Jeffrey
the
Epstein.
dead
And so
skin
Representative
smell.
Ro was
As soon as you
asking for
open that
King
door to go back
Charles
into
to
the
sit down
waiting
and
area.
meet with some of those Epstein survivors.
It was
He did hold a
nasty, and
roundtable
plus
as well.
he had the
Let's
heat
listen into
on.
this here on
Oh, it
Live
was so
Now
bad.
from
Okay,
Fox.
that's what happened to me today. Is there no sound? Why is there no sound? It's up all the way. I don't know. That's on their end.
All right, we are working to get some sound on that behind the scenes here on Live Now from Fox. But again, we do want to play this out for you as you're able to hear from some of those folks who were there on Capitol Hill earlier today as Representative Ro Khanna brought them all together in order to talk about the link between Jeffrey Epstein and some of these high-profile officials, including the former prince who